So a lot of people ask, I get this question a lot, right? Like, Trent, like, how do you deal with hard times? Like, you always seem so strong. You always seem so positive. You always have so much faith, right? I get that a lot. Are you immune to hard times? No, nobody's immune to hard times. We all have hard times. And trust me, I've been through, you'll hear this in the video. I say we all struggle. It doesn't matter because people hide theirs well, whatever. We all struggle, period. And that's what I try to share with y'all. Like, I struggle a lot. You know, I have bad days. I have seasons that I go through. I have bad chapters that I don't want to be in. But it's changed from my life on how I view things now from how I used to view things then. All in my mindset, because how I used to deal with hard times was totally opposite, right? As y'all see my last video, that would be me, that cup, filling up with money, filling up with women, all these things to make me feel good for the moment. That's how I dealt with my hard times, but I ended up being empty again. That's why I built a relationship with God, because I said I need something more to fill this void. Now when I deal with hard times, I have a whole different mindset. Honestly, not saying that I pray for hard times, but I'm thankful for them. Because without hard times, without adversity, without challenges, right? Without struggle, how would your faith be built? How would you become strong? I always say this: a strong person is just a weak person that's been repaired. Understand that. I'm going to talk about this a little bit more later, but a strong person is just a weak person that's been repaired. So now, when I go through these moments, when I go through these storms, when I go through these seasons, you know, I'm not like, oh man, my life is over or this or that. I say, okay, number one, the first thing I tell myself is I tell myself that hard times don't last, period. And this is not no particular order. I tell myself three things, all right? Usually the last is first, but I'm going to talk about the last. That's the most important part. But one of the things I tell myself is hard times don't last. Because a lot of times we create a story that defeats us. All right, we create a story that defeats us. It's not the world. It's not circumstances. It's not opinions. It's not the outside world that defeats you. You defeat you right here. You defeat you. This is the hardest battle that you're going to have to face. You in the mirror. Your thoughts, what you tell yourself, thoughts will kill you. Your story will kill you. So a lot of times when hard times come, people say, my life is over. Right? A relationship ends, my life is over. Nobody loves me no more. Or they might lose some or fail, like me getting cut from the NFL. I have no purpose. I don't care about seeing tomorrow. My best days are in the past. We tell ourselves these things. And we wonder why we're defeated. And when this world presents something that makes us believe that, we believe it. Because this world don't care about you. This world wants to make you feel like you're defeated. Every chance it gets. And so if you're already defeating yourself, and then the world presents something to you that validates what you're already thinking, you're going to believe it. Period. So watch the story you create. I tell myself a whole different story. And I'm going to talk to you about in a minute. All right? Hard times don't last. Don't surrender to it. Don't surrender. I don't care what it is you're going through. Faith it out. Don't surrender. A lot of times we say, oh, it's not possible. Or I have this disease. The doctor said this. The boss said this. This person said this. Man, whose report you going to believe? Man's report or God's report? Because I'm not believing man's report. That's just me. When I know God has something for me, I know no man or no opinion or nobody can take it from me. So let hard times do what it do, right? Seasons happen. Seasons happen, and seasons are necessary in life, because without seasons, how would you grow? How would you become stronger? It's necessary. Okay, so think about that. First thing I tell myself, one of the things I'm not going to say first. One of the things I tell myself is hard times don't last, all right? Watch the story you create. Don't surrender. Make up your mind and say, you know what? I'm going to get through this. It's not over. It's not over. This is going to create something special, okay? The next thing I tell myself that there is a purpose. There is a purpose greater than this pain I'm going through. Immediately that switches my mind. Because a lot of times we say, right, this is over, or nothing's going to get better, or my life sucks, or nobody loves me, nobody cares about me, and you believe that. But when you start to say there's a purpose greater than this pain, guess what? Now the pain isn't necessarily an enemy. Now you know the pain is going to produce something stronger, make you better, build your faith. And Job is a great example if you read that, right? Build your faith, build your strength. There's power in pain. Some of y'all might be thinking right now, what? There's power in pain? Are you crazy, Trent? There's power in pain. Realize this. There's no strength at all without pain. Think about it. And I always like to relate things to maybe things that don't even deal with what I'm going through. But I used to play sports, so I understand the importance of pain. Pain builds you. I understand the importance of struggle. Struggle builds you. And so I always relate things to that. How can you become a stronger person if you never went through anything? How can you become a stronger person if you never went through struggle? At the end of the day, strength's foundation is pain. At the bottom of strength, it's pain because you learn how to push through it. As I told you earlier, a strong person is nothing but a weak person that's been repaired. Strength is nothing but weakness that's been repaired. That's it. That's it. There's a purpose greater than the pain that you're going through, period. Than the chapter that you're in. Seasons don't last forever. Seasons are necessary, but the problem is that we talk ourselves, all right? Listen to me right here. The problem is that we're so into defeating ourselves that we stay in the season longer than we're supposed to be in there. We stay stuck in the season. A lot of us are stuck in the season right here in our mindset because we're not thinking that there's something greater than the pain that I'm going through. We're thinking that this is it. I lost everything. My relationship is gone. We stay stuck there. Get out of that situation. Get out of that mindset. Allow pain to work. The molding process, right? When you mold something, it doesn't always feel good. It doesn't. It doesn't always feel good to build strength. It's a lot of temporary discomfort in building strength. But it's necessary, all right? It builds an unbreakable strength. Unbreakable strength has to go through temporary discomfort. I hope you understand that. If you look at me as a strong person, it's times where I never thought I could make it through. When I got cut from the NFL, I always said it, but you got to realize that was my life. When I lost that, I feel like my life was over. I feel like there's nothing else to live for. Why? If I would have quit, I wouldn't be here now speaking to you. If I would have quit, I wouldn't be able to have the strength that I have now that it's possible. If I can overcome something that I feel like was my life and I lost it, if I can overcome that, what can't I overcome when I look back on my life? So number one, I tell myself hard times don't last. Another thing I tell myself is there's a purpose greater than this pain, all right? And last but not least, the most important thing I tell myself, if none of those things seem to get to me or work, I tell myself this: God's got me. 3 words. God's got me. I go to my power scriptures. And for some people, it's different. We all have different things that we go to. Hopefully you go to something that's better in your life, because if you go to something that's not better in your life, that's just drowning out the pain, guess what? The pain's going to come right back. I go to my power scriptures. 3 of them on top, I can tell you: Jeremiah 29:11, Matthew 11:28, Joshua 1:9, be strong, be courageous. All right, I stand on those power scriptures. I go to my reflection because when I'm going through something, I like to go back and said, if God delivered me from that, I know he's going to deliver me from this. If God helped me get through that, I know he's going to help me get through this. I faith it out. That's how my faith is built. My faith has become strong, not necessarily on what I believe in the future, but everything that I know God has done for me in the past. So it's hard for me not to believe I can survive a situation after everything I've survived from. And it's the same with you. And a lot of times we think our hard times deal with removal, right? And I'm going to speak about this for a second, because a lot of times we think we lose something. It's tough, whether it's a job, whether it's a relationship, whether it's a house sometimes. I mean, we always relate loss to something that's bad for our life. Sometimes, what I've learned in my life, sometimes what you want is exactly what you don't need. God knows what's best for you. And when I sit there and think about my past, and I want you guys to relate, because I know so many of you guys out there can relate to this. When I sit there and I think about my past, and I'm almost done, and I think about the prayers I used to pray. God, keep me in this. God, keep me and bring me back this relationship. Bring me back this person. Keep me in this job. It's the things that I wanted to do. I realized that if God would have kept me in those things, I might not be alive today. If God would have kept me in those things, my life would be miserable. So it's amazing that the things that I prayed for that I wanted are now the things I'm thanking God that he didn't give me. So a lot of times in that relationship, like I remember my past relationships that I was like, I don't want to live without this person. Like bring this person back. Please, please, please. Now I'm thanking God for releasing me from that person because my happiness wasn't there. My joy wasn't there. It was miserable. The job that I wanted, football, I would pray, God, keep me in this job. Please give me sign, Lord. Please have a team call me. Please, please. If he would have answered that prayer, I could be paralyzed. I could be lost. I know my life was already on the wrong track. See, I was already going down the wrong track when I was playing football. So if he would have kept me there, I know my life would have been crazy. I would be so far away from him. A lot of times God allows you to lose things so you can grow closer to him. A lot of times he allows you to lose things so you can grow a relationship with him. A lot of times he allows you to hit rock bottom so you can make him the rock of your life. That's why I say I'm thankful. When I look back at rock bottom, even at the time, I was like, this sucks. Man, this sucks. Like, for real. But now I look back and say I'm thankful for rock bottom. Because if it wasn't for rock bottom, I wouldn't be who I am today. God knows what's best for you. Removal, I feel like, is removal at certain times with certain circumstances. I personally feel like it's one of God's greatest blessings. But you have to think with faith. Because if you think what you want, you're going to feel like God is punishing you when he's sitting there really protecting you. Understand, he had a purpose for your life before you had a plan for yourself. So you have to trust him. You know, faith to me, all right, actually, I put it like this. A strong, let me get the quote right here. Trying to find out where exactly, because I want to say this exactly right. Here it is. Strength. This is something I wrote down. Strength doesn't always show in understanding what's known, right? Or you can say faith. Faith doesn't always show in understanding what's known. But faith shows in trusting what isn't. And that's powerful to me because that's what faith is all about. It's about saying, you know what, God, I'm going to give it all to you. I'm trusting you. I'm trusting you to allow this season to build me, to allow this season to strengthen my faith. Because how can you have strong faith if you never went through nothing? If you never went through nothing, the hard times, what do we need God for? Let's be honest. And so, for you guys out there that's going through your hard times, that's going through your struggles right now, and I know you might be like, Trent, you don't understand what I'm going through. I lost this, I lost that. Sometimes your greatest loss is your greatest gain. A loss isn't always a loss. And you will never be able to understand it now, but you have to let your faith understand what it's going to be and what God has for you. And maybe it's time for you to start changing your prayers. You know, my prayers changed. After I started realizing that my prayers for what I wanted, it wasn't what I needed. Like I was praying for my downfall, really, right? I was praying for my misery. I might not necessarily said that, but if I understand what how the path was laid for my life, if I would have got those things, I was praying for my misery, right? So my prayers changed. My prayers are now, I don't even tell God to remove me out of situations. And a lot of times we put ourselves in these situations. A lot of times we create our own struggle. A lot of times we create our own heartache at times. And so I ask God for forgiveness, but I tell him, allow me to stay in whatever season, whatever chapter, whatever situation, as long, whatever hard time, allow me to stay in there however long you need me to stay in there to make me a better make me a better me for you, to make me a better disciple, to make me a better servant, to make me a better husband, to make me a better father, to make me a better leader. However it is that you need to build and mold me, keep me there. And that's what it is now, because I understand that you have to go through things. And I look at things like that. Everything's not going to be sunny outside. And that exposes someone's true character, because it's easy to smile when the sun's out. It's easy to believe when the sun's out. It's easy to have faith when the sun's out. But when storms hit your life, who are you? Who are you? When your faith is tested, who are you? That's the question I would ask you. And you need to get to that point where you're a stronger person during your storms. You learn how to dance in the rain because you understand, said, this is strength. This isn't pain. This is gain. This isn't loss. And you tell yourself these things and you believe these things because you know that's what God has for you. All right, let's get it, man.